And then, after giving it a bit more thought, I'll most likely come up with a solid and practical solution. What do you say? Does that sound like an excellent plan to you, right?
Exactly. So then I just offer solutions for the problems my client's facing. And you've really got to stay on your toes here, especially when you're working with salespeople who used to be technicians before. So I see this quite often. Technicians eventually stepping into sales roles, and they're often actually the stronger performers because they truly understand every single little detail. They can actually deliver a solution for every problem. They know the product inside and out, and that alone makes them great salespeople because they can genuinely help the customer. The thing with these folks is, especially early on, they often get too technical, sometimes way too much. And you got to remember, when I'm in a sales call, I'm there to sell, not to run a full-on product training session. And when the customer brings up a problem, I really need to be able to let them know that I've got that. I can solve the problem and that we've got a solid, reliable solution in place, exactly what it looks like in practice. So, what's the real, tangible outcome when my product is up and running at the customers? How does it tackle their pain points? And what's the actual result, not just how it works? There's always the risk of diving too deep into the technical stuff. If I'm out there selling machines to the industry and the customer tells me they need to pack certain items, that's exactly when I step in with my proven tailored packaging solution every single time. I've got this fictional machine that specializes in wrapping packages. Then of course I could confidently tell the customer, okay, we're able to handle a package volume of, 5,000 packages a day. And for that we'd need a module that looks a certain way. It needs this much space. Maybe I'd mention that as well. But I wouldn't go into too much detail about the fact that, okay, you'd actually need certain specific requirements for the types of boxes being used over there, in terms of size or strength. And there are these and those maintenance intervals. That's the risk. Sometimes salespeople get too caught up in them. So the technical salespeople, and then they end up revealing way too many technical details. And then, of course, I run the risk that the customer starts asking about specific technical features of my product. Like if I say, okay, the packaging machine, just saying, for example, it comes with a touchscreen. But let's be honest, the customer really doesn't care about that to get a solution for their problem. They just want 5,000 packages packed every single day. Whether it works with a touchscreen or comes with an employee handling everything, that's what truly matters. It doesn't really mind at all. But if I bring up this touchscreen right now, just to share a quick real-life example here in practice, there's a solid chance the customer might unexpectedly come back and respond with, yeah, sure, but we sell hydraulic oil and our team members frequently have oil on their hands. Does the touchscreen even work then? And suddenly I'm pulled right out of the sales pitch, fast-tracking into a full-blown tech support issue. Now I'm stuck solving support cases right in the middle of a live sales conversation. Even though the customer doesn't even own my product yet, you really have to stay focused and not get sidetracked by unnecessary details that could just raise more questions for the customer. And in the end, I could still end up losing the deal over technical details that might confuse the customer, things I simply can't clarify right away and where I definitely need to bring in a technician or gather additional information before moving forward, which just takes more time and effort. And that's exactly how I end up losing the customer, because they're simply waiting for the chance to say, all right, give me a time frame, I need some time to think it over, let me mull it over, and then head off to research your product thoroughly on their own first, whether you can handle things with greasy fingers.
Yeah.
And that's where you really need to be careful not to get too caught up in the technical details. And you should always keep the end goal clearly in mind. What's the actual outcome we're ultimately aiming for in the end? When the customer starts using my product, what does their life actually look like afterward? And not what happens in between.
So I'm building myself a little knowledge base within the sales script.
Exactly. So, in my sales script, I've actually put together a range of common problems and paired each one with a smart, tailored solution, keeping everything clear and actionable. Where I can simply take my lead from the common problems my clients share with me, and then, of course, confidently present smart, tailored solutions for each one. Be careful not to oversell your product. With a complex one, it's often the case that the customer has a specific issue your product can genuinely solve, effectively and directly addressing their needs in a meaningful way. But my product can also solve plenty of other issues the customer might not even have right now or isn't currently concerned about. And that's exactly where the risk comes in. The customer goes ahead and mentions some random problem. And then I can actually help them. I look at my sales grid and think, hey, they might have this other issue too. And then I suddenly start explaining what other problems they might have and even offer a solution. And that's what you call overselling. Then, of course, I quickly run into the issue that all these points, all the features my product actually offers, really have to be an absolutely perfect 100% match for the customer. And maybe that's just not the case. Maybe I can't actually solve the problem the customer originally has. Maybe I can solve that perfectly with my product, and then suddenly, as a seller, I end up creating entirely new problems, basically inventing them out of thin air, problems the customer then thinks of and says, oh yeah, this product could actually be used for that too. And then my solution might fit, but it's really not optimal for that particular customer's problem. And then I quickly run into the problem that the customer gets unsure and says, okay, I've got this hypothetical problem XYZ here, which he doesn't actually have, or at least hasn't been on his radar. And then the software fits only 80%, or the solution I'm offering just matches 80%. And then doubts naturally start to creep in. And in the end, I don't actually close the deal because my product can't do something, can't solve some issue 100%, even though the customer doesn't even have a problem with it. That's exactly why it's so important to stay focused on the customer's real challenges and priorities. Never get distracted by anything else, ever. Stay sharp. Of course, if I've got an innovative product and some extra solutions up my sleeve, I can certainly bring those up in the conversation as well, no doubt about it. So if I've got some really cool new features or things the customer might not even be aware of yet, I can definitely highlight those and show how they add real value. Then I can bring them up, but I shouldn't always position them as problem solving. Rather, they'd be more like added comfort features that simply enhance the experience. So, things that wouldn't necessarily hurt sales if they're not 100% perfect, but rather features that add real value by giving customers extra comfort and convenience. It's not just about solving the problem somehow, it's about making the whole experience as smooth and comfortable as possible for my customer when getting that problem resolved. Those are definitely points I can bring up, but like I said, it's really crucial not to oversell or list off every single one of my product features. That's another thing technical salespeople just tend to do. They get a bit too attached to the product, let's say. And then they think every single feature is absolutely brilliant in their solution, so they get this urge to proudly showcase each and every feature, every single function of their solution directly to the customer. I get it, yeah. But in sales, that can be really counterproductive. You've got to be careful not to lose focus and end up overselling the product more than actually needed, which can backfire quickly. If it fully solves the customer's problem, they'll be genuinely thrilled to have my product and won't hesitate to say yes right away. And if it happens to do even more in the end, awesome. But I really don't need to spell everything out during the sales pitch.
Acquire new customers the easy way with the help of AI. Start today.